how do you help creatives make money?
So what we do is we go into a business, a creative company in this case. We open their business, we look at it, understand what the drivers are, the revenue drivers. Basically, make conversations that will connect the gap between an investor and a business. So what we found over the time is creatives are unable to communicate in languages an investor understands and
Mm.
vice versa. So we've come in as a middleman to solve that problem, help creatives to access more capital.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Creative Money Podcast. My name is Ademi Okunowo. Close friends call me Tanky Tank. They call her Chidera.
Yes, Chidera.
Hola.
I'll let you do the introduction this time.
That's okay. You know, I always like to introduce you.
Yeah, no
Your eminence.
problem.
How's it going?
Very well.
Nice.
Welcome to the Creative Money Podcast. Here we talk about money, but not in the boring fashion. We uncover unconventional, innovative, and surprisingly smart ways to build money the creative way. Our guest today is an investment advisor who has helped move billions of dollars for businesses from small, medium enterprises to big private clients. He's smart, he's sharp, he's Kamsy, Osakwe.
Money man.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Chidera. Thank you very much, Tanky Tank,
Yes, sir.
for having me today. It's such a pleasure to be here. Chidera said billions of dollars.
Yes, no.
Amen. We'll get there.
We'll get there, yeah?
We'll get there.
I love it. I love it.
Love you.
Welcome again.
It's a pleasure.
So, my brother, I've been hearing money,
Mhm.
and I've been hearing how you assist creatives. But run us through that process so those at home can understand the fullness of what you actually do.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much once again for having me. Such a pleasure to be here. I think it'll be helpful to provide a background about myself.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm an engineer by training.
Okay.
The day I graduated from, I did a master's in subsea engineering. The day I left, I said I was going to go into finance, and it was a difficult conversation to have with my dad. But here we are, right?
Yeah.
So I come from, unfortunately, I'm not blessed enough to be a creative, but I come from a very interesting bloodline of creatives. I have cousins that, fashion designers, stylists, starting very big celebrities internationally, Beyonce, as big as it gets. I have cousins who are, painters, artists, very, very creative people, but I wasn't one of them. But somehow I found a niche, which is, in this finance side of creatives, the creative industry. And it really just bore out of, speaking to my cousin, providing that structural advice for his business. Little did I know that one day it will become something I do professionally. So that's how it is. But how we got here really, I work for a business called Tag. I'm a director at Tag. So essentially what Tag does is Tag is an offshoot of We Capital. So I don't know if you're familiar with We Capital, the venture capital company
They've invested in some big names.
invested in Money Point.
Yeah,
It's a very good investment. You can imagine the scale of what Money Point is to our lives right now.
Yeah.
And they invested very well in tech industry as well. And the way we see it is where tech was, say, 6 years ago, is where the creative economy is right now. So, but someone has to go in there, do that work, structure that industry in a way that money can come in, and an investor can say, okay, yeah, this is how my money is going to come out, and how is and at what interest or what premium am I going to get for taking that risk. So that's what we're doing in our company. We do a lot of work with creators across the space, from fashion businesses, music, film producers, so on and so forth, just helping them create that structure in that business and make it investor ready so that an investor can, put their money in, know how the money is coming out, and, make the required investment.
So what's exactly pulled you to the direction of the financial side of the creative economy? Because it looks like you just like money. And
I mean, what exactly pulled me there really was a coffee conversation. So like I said, my cousin, I've always been providing that structural advice for his business. So Olu, who is the founder of We Capital, invited me out for coffee. And I'm not sure how he knew this was going on behind the scenes. So, we had coffee, we had chat, and in so many ways, I could see what he was saying. He understood that there was that gap. I saw that there was that gap, but I haven't really thought about it as to do it
As
properly,
a
do it
business.
fully exactly as a business. But he had tag running already.
Okay.
So I said, look, this is something I'm passionate about, something I've been doing for free. I will still do it for free, to be honest. Of course, but I have to put food on the table. So it's something that I'll do for free, something I'm passionate about, and there's a lot of opportunities as well in that sector. So it makes sense for us to be able to go in there, solve that problem that people are avoiding, and hopefully we're able to put food on the tables of multi-millions or millions of people across Africa.
Let me ask you, what's the juiciest industry in that space? What's made you the most money so far in the creative space?
To be honest, like the creative space is where at the moment where the milk and honey is, to be honest, is in the music scene, of course. If you're able to structure the Afrobeat sensation is insane. I don't think we really even understand the scale of what's happening, right? So institutional capital is starting to come into that area, and so that's the main driver of skill, to be honest. Institutional capital. So it's so much that, and let me talk about institutional capital for a bit. The benefit of institutional capital is that it just doesn't come with money, it comes with access. So if you take a tech company, for example, today, they aren't just, if you let's say a company that maybe they've done seed or something like that, if you tell them they don't give you $1 million, they'll first of all gauge whether, okay, if this guy can lead me to more and more of those kind of more people, what can this kind of VC investor bring for me except money? So that's the benefit of institutional capital. So that's where the Afrobeat industry is very close to, or is at the to be honest, is there already.
Okay.
It's just still very nascent, and but we're starting to see the ripple effects across other areas in fashion, film, music. Recently, I just in the business that we work with did a collaboration with Meta AI, and so that is very big. I don't think we've ever seen anything of that sort in this country. That's unofficial. To collaboration with Meta AI, insane. Nobody has ever seen that kind of collaboration come up in that. So it shows that there's definitely it's a gold mine, really.
I like that.
All right. So let's say I was a creative looking to go into funding. So what kind of funding would be best suitable for a creative? Is it grants? Is it loans? Is it partnership? Is it what nature of investments is best suitable?
Yeah, I mean, for a creative, from my perspective, grants is always nice to have because it doesn't have any. It's difficult to get, but it doesn't have any. Nothing is holding you. Do you know what I mean? Nobody's taking equity from your business. Nobody's asking you to pay back with interest. It's really okay. We're giving you this money. Go and do what you say you do. So grants is always nice to have, right? In terms of either getting debt or getting equity, I think it's really down to that business as it stands. So that's to say, you might be in a phase where you collect debt and it's just bad for you, right? You might be able to solve what is immediate, right? And it's just bad for you. So that's another thing that the creative sector really lacks. How do you price the risk going there? So because it's largely unstructured, do you know what I mean? There is no, and that's the difficulty with accessing capital for creative, because it's largely unstructured. No one can really price that risk. So it's like you can't even say, well, if I give A money to go and do this, and A does 1, 2, and this is how my money is going to come. You can't do those projections, so on and so forth. So that's what we do. We're doing those projections, we're doing those financial models. How do you even build those models, right? So that's where we build our expertise in. And so just to answer your question, grants is always nice to have. I think debt or equity is really down to that business. Understanding what their objectives are, 5 years, 10 years, and also the current state of that business, But let's say a business is even doing terrible, there are different ways you can collect debt and structure it out to be able to repay back. And so that's really what we do, because there are no financial advisors. I don't know if you've seen Femi Otedola's book, right?
Okay, since my
He had a
experience.
problem with not having the right advice.
Mm.
So that's very big. So you need someone to be able to, provide that financial advice for, creatives, and hopefully that's the work we will continue to do very well.
So you guys want to be the McKinsey's, the KPMG's of advisory for the creative space.
Yeah, I mean, I, if you're using that, that's a very good, analogy. But those are more like consulting firms.
Okay, yeah.
So rather be maybe I'll say like Goldman Sachs.
Goldman Sachs, okay,
I
yeah.
know,
Okay, fine
although
enough.
Goldman Sachs is in a board bracket, but think about it like I don't know if you're very familiar. Evercore, those are like boutique advisory firms, boutique investment advisory firms. Exactly, that's where we'd rather sit.
Interesting. So you did a report, the
Mhm.
Afrobeat report,
Yeah.
and you valued Lagos nightlife
Mhm.
at over $1 billion.
Mhm.
What's that breakdown? Where's that money going to? I know we hear 30 December and all
Yeah.
that, but like it'd be nice to hear the breakdown of
Mhm.
that. That's about what 200? No, that's about $100 million a month.
Yeah, that's
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
See, the title of that report is Afrobeat report, and what we're looking at is, especially over the last couple of years, Afrobeat has changed, and it's no longer just a genre; it's a movement.
Yeah.
Right, and so with that, he's been able to build out the nightlife here locally. So we typically should have just studied just the nightlife, but then we'll say, well, it's just not the nightlife. Nightlife is in many ways a beneficiary of the success of Afrobeats.
Yeah, true.
Right? So you're looking at, if you go back to nightlife, you're looking at, I was thinking about it recently, to be honest. Say you go to I'm doing an MBA, okay, and we're working on the project. And the project we're looking at, we're studying an asset management company. Now they are regulated in terms of how much they can charge for managing their money. So if I put 10,000 naira into an asset management business, they will charge me 1.5%. That's the cap for management. Okay. However, if you go to the club, there's no cap on how much they can price their bottles. Do you know what I mean? It's 1,000 sometimes. It is 1,000% on the
On top
cost
of,
price.
yeah. Depending on how you swag the place out
Depending
and
on
who's
how you,
coming there. Yeah.
it's based on vibes, really. Do you understand? So that, and it's sold out night after night. Incredible. Do you understand? Like, I don't think there's a Friday night or that is not sold out, really.
it's not.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And then 30 December, so the Afrobeat as a, rather than just a genre, but as a movement, has powered that, that nightlife, partying and all that, so on and so forth. Another big one again is the brand deals. We're talking about people like outside, maybe let's not talk about the beverages, like the drinks, so on and so forth. They are sponsoring out nights, Glenfiddich, all these guys coming in, they know they have to come in with deep pockets. Think about Martel.
So what they did with Davido.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They have to come with deep pockets. And I'll need to go and confirm this number. But I remember one time I had a couple years ago, I read that Nigeria is one of the biggest consumers of alcohol. I think I'll need to go and confirm
No, it
those.
is. I saw the champagne one that were
Yeah,
the highest consumers of champagne.
highest consumers
like
of
4 years or
champagne.
5 years ago. Yeah.
You see how that goes, right? And then let's talk about other spin-offs from it as well. Maybe what comes to mind now would be what's the spin-off again from that? Of course the artists as well. They might not
I was gonna say.
be performing. They do some, so they'll do shows, maybe club shows, but of course having those concerts, so on and so forth.
Even in the fashion space, they're like, you see Wizkid with the GQ campaigns, going for Burberry things outside the country. So yeah, there's a lot of spin-offs.
It's you know what I mean. So that whole is what we're looking at. So the real value we put up there was 970 million. Of course, we crowned around $1 billion, but the movement is incredible, really.
And it's funny because I remember when I was in uni, so I used to do parties. In uni.
Okay, lovely.
And I remember there was a party we did, and the DJ started playing Nigerian music.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran to him. I said, "Are you mad? Do you want to spoil this party? Like, go back to our
Yeah.
the Drakes,
Mm-hmm.
the." And now you go to a club and you can literally do Nigerian music from beginning to the end. If you even hear like Yankee music, it's like, what's the DJ doing now? Like it's so. I can imagine what those
You always
numbers.
play Yankee music where?
Yeah, exactly. Like it just kills the whole vibe, and yeah.
Exactly. So it's it's beautiful to see. Really, it's beautiful. Like who would have thought that we get to this point? So it's amazing.
All right. So you presented a report.
Mm-hmm.
So like in the process of that, before you actually release the report on the Afrobeat thingy, I'm sure you'd have done a lot of findings. You would have come across a lot of revelation. So what moments in that creative aspect were you like, wow, like people are really missing out on this sort of information, or people really really need to hear this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Let's look at let's say one of our clients again, who is my cousin Iron Official, right?
I was gonna say that your cousin, that conversation you had with your cousin.
Yeah.
What was
that?
Yeah.
So if you think about the collaboration with Meta AI, right, from my own POV, the revenue coming from there is forex, foreign generated, revenue, right? Now, being so close to him, I've seen him, travel, do shows, do pop-ups, sell clothes on the international market. So that's forex generated. Okay, I'm just using that as a case study that's there to open my head. So that's generating a lot of foreign currency. Now, what's the cost of production for that? It's done here locally.
Yeah.
So that's one. So I have, I said I come from a bloodline of creatives. Okay. So I have another, cousin as well, Gomos here, who is also very, big in fashion, styling, both my goods, that's what I call them. Local production, international, global consumption. So that, and the interesting thing I'm starting to see is there is an appetite for the premium that the global market is happy to pay that premium for that. And that's just me looking at those two brands. Okay. But if you decide to look at other other brands as well, maybe if you think about To Kill a Monkey that came out, right? You will see that the person that told me to watch this movie was a friend that has never been to Nigeria. She's just in touch. Do you understand what I mean? And even when you say, I think whenever I posted a story at some point that they make more money on streams internationally than they do here locally. So what I'm seeing is an opportunity for foreign generated revenue, and which is what Nigeria needs a lot of. It's the creative economic export. Do you know what I mean? Is what Nigeria needs a lot of, right? So looking at that, I said, wow, okay, let's step back. So how can we make this scale? How can we make it in a way that we're a bigger part of the creative economic export, so that it's not just because what's going to happen is, like, and Olu alluded to this, is everybody can see it. At some point, the white, the foreigners will pick it up and say, okay, look, if there's an opportunity here and we need to maximize on it, and then we'll now, be sitting down knowing that we lost an opportunity to be part of an evolution, right? So that's where the opportunity. That's how we open my eyes open to it, to see that, look, the revenue is not even in naira per se; it's in USD terms.
So like that's like the value chain that Nigerian creatives are like losing out on, because nobody has received their moment of epiphany yet, except somebody like you, of course.
That's why you say that. I wouldn't say that they are losing out on. I would say that it's an opportunity to really tap into. The global market is probably where the opportunity is in terms of consumption, because there is actually demand for African creativity across board. Film, music, fashion, gaming is coming on board as well. So there's a global demand. There's a global demand for African creativity. So it's important that, we go back, we solve the problem that makes it possible to scale. And that's what we're trying to do.
Okay. So invest already.
Yeah.
Now, a young creative. So let's use a case study. A gamer in Nigeria, for instance. Typical gamers out there are making 40,000 a month, those kind of numbers. So I'm a gamer in Nigeria. I want to invest already. I want to come to you now and say, this is me. I'm good at this. How does invest already look like for that kind of person and for creatives generally?
Yeah, I mean, for creatives, the first thing any investor, because investor, all they are speaking is numbers. Nobody really, they just want to know that, well, how do I get my money out with a premium? So all they are speaking in numbers, right? The thing about it is that it's easy to get lost in the source. What I mean by that is you might be getting the hype, you might be a big brand, you're so on and so forth, you're on this, you're on that, you're on Vogue, but your books are not intact, right? If they come and say, okay, well, what's your revenue for last year? As simple as that is, you're not even sure, but you're making money, right? You're taking care of yourself, you're living nice. So I think the first thing, for any creative is just as much as possible, just try to keep that, just try to get your books
in order.
Yeah, your books in order, right? And it's not, and on a, as periodic as you can, or in fact, very periodic annually, make sure those books are in check, because it's the basic. It's really the basic for any company. Think about it like maybe you went to some other sector, for example, maybe you went to production, right? It's basic, and that's a big part that is missing, that we find to be missing in the creative sector. Okay, so that's one. And then two is actually being able to, in many ways, I'll say, know your revenue drivers.
Let's even like in order. So
understand your revenue drivers. And the reason why I say that is, there are two ways to look at it. Creativity is IP, right? So understanding that, okay, if I'm a film producer, for example, and I've collected, say, XX amount of money to do something to create this IP, how do I monetize this IP other than, say, for example, film? And you see it in the US, for example. Say somebody does a film that does very well. Before you know it now, they are doing a game on it. Before you know it now,
children's bottles, all the different
Spider-Man. Do you understand? They will monetize it in different ways, right? So it's very important to be able to understand how you can make the most of the IP you're creating. Secondly is, like I said, revenue drivers again is, I've seen this one also play out in and also play out in in a lot of businesses. I find that, sometimes let me take a step back. And being able to tell that story, understand your revenue drivers and being able to tell that story. Okay. You're saying that, well, this is how we've started. This is what we are doing now. Okay. And this is where we think we're going, and sell the story. Selling the story is so interesting. It's so, because I used to work with Access Bank. All right. I used to, and it's a very interesting story because we used to work on a couple, transactions as such. And I remember one used to stress me out.
So was it in the creative space?
It was in the creative space. It used to stress me out. Okay. And it's just an experience, okay? It used to stress me out. And so I went and told, my boss then that, look, man, honestly, this is stressing me out, I want to cry. And then he said, and that was the time when this FTX had just gone bust. Okay. And he said to me, like, no, the benefit of this thing is that what we're doing is that in case you're brought up to be the new managing director of FTX, and you have to go and talk your way out of it. You have to tell the story about what you're planning, so on and so forth. That's the benefit of this here. So that really painted an image for me, so that when I see a business now, or when I take a creative company, for example, and I open their books, I'm able to say, well, this is how you're scaling, and this is where the opportunity should be, and be able to sell that story to an investor. So really, that's that's very important for any creative, to really be able to sell the story, knowing where they're coming, where they are going, and paint a very good picture.
Okay.
All right. So you mentioned that you mentioned grants being good enough and safe enough for any kind of creative looking to grow. So let's say I'm a creative with very little or no resources at all. Um, okay, what's the very first step that I can take in turning my hustle into business? As like, what kind of thing would I do that would make an investor take me very seriously? So
No, absolutely.
remember, I don't have any
You
resources.
don't have any
So
resources.
yeah.
Well, like, one thing I found is I have a very deep respect for creative entrepreneurs, and they are the most under what's the word I'll use now?
Underappreciated.
I don't even appreciate the word, but undercapitalized industry. Sometimes they have to bootstrap their way all through their life. Maybe you have maybe you have you make money, you put it back into the business, you keep doing that over and over and over again. Or maybe, for example, maybe maybe your parents are able to put money into your business. Anyways, there is no kind of outside capital really, a lot of outside capital really coming in for the creative businesses. So it's it's a difficult terrain. But somehow they go through it.
Yeah.
So that, they have my utmost respect. So for someone just starting, I would say honestly, you have to go through it.
Hustle.
You have to go through it, because hopefully we're working towards getting there, right? But as it stands, you just have to go through it, right? You need to keep investing into your business. Do you understand? And definitely, at a point, we're going to get to a point where institutional capital is able to come and catalyze that growth that we really need, because that's the real work. Institutional capital will definitely unlock growth. And like I said earlier, institutional capital is not just money; it's access. It's access.
So would you be the kind of investor who would want to invest into a creative who is doing exactly what you just said?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have a criteria for what you
What
look
you're
for.
looking out for before
100%. So for us as a business now, the kind of businesses that we currently work with have a track record of, maybe they've been in the business for 5 years. They have a revenue of maybe,
there's some traction.
They have some traction going on, because it's still largely unstructured. We've done ourselves a lot of the service to go to meet someone that hasn't really done any work, shown anything. Okay, so we just have to start, because even at that stage, it's still a lot of work to be done. So you really have to have shown a lot of traction, in terms of your years of being in the business, revenues, so on and so forth. You might not even be keeping your books in order, but we can pick out your bank statements and make sense out of it. So really, I think that's the best way. That's why I say you just have to go through it, to be honest.
Okay. Now, I see like how outside the country, the spending power is a lot more.
Yeah.
So you have our creators here that don't have as much leverage as their counterparts across the sea. Is there do you say Nigeria where the average person can actually generate solid revenue just being local? Because I see some comedians back in the day, they've managed to get it together and making some good money. And you see another 500,000 of them on the same Facebook, but there's a big contrast between what they're earning. So what is there a possibility that your organization would do something in the future to sort of capitalize on that and make sure that, okay, look, even if you're just a comedian in our local economy, you can still make something worthwhile without having to have the international audience?
I honestly wish. I genuinely think, like, not just in the creative sector, but across
even sports. So yeah.
I think like the only place where I might be wrong. The only place where it can be local and still be really good is the United States.
Yeah.
Personally, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm a big Formula One fan. Okay.
Yeah.
From the owners of Formula One, Liberty Media, they're investing a lot to break into the American market.
Miami Grand Prix.
They've ruled out. They're breaking their rules to bring the American market into. They just historically only. I know it's only like 10 teams. Next year they have 11 teams.
Yeah.
Oh, you're Formula One fan as well.
Yeah, I'm a Formula One.
I love that.
Die hard. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's, and that's why Trump, well, from his point of view, he has all the cards, right? To play tariffs here and there, so on and so forth. So, well, would Nigeria? So I don't think it's just a creative economy thing. I think it's it's just what it is.
Economy as a whole,
as a whole. Japan needs to sell their cars to America. China needs to do whatever they do, to America. It's would Nigeria be able to do that? I don't know. Really. By God's grace, we keep praying now. Don't forget to pray for Nigeria.
Don't forget.
We'll keep praying and see where that comes to. Hopefully, but in the past, people, they did their thing locally. I think you still make more money here. I mean, like, nightlife is doing very well. But yeah, you probably still need to scale internationally to make some good money.
So must just explore all options possible here.
Yeah.
You
need to. I think you always need to have that global mindset. In anything you're doing. Yeah. I mean, sometimes your problem you're solving might just be local. Maybe you're a tech company, and that will earn you the millions you need, the USD you need, right? But I really think, especially for creative global consumption, going international is the market, personally anyways.
All right, you mentioned grant being a safe option for every creative. What other options are available for a creative who would want to get into what you just mentioned? And should they come to TAG, or should they come to you as a representative? Would you be willing to assist with whatever it is that they want, or would you just mention, oh, these are the options, blah 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 blah? Or does TAG actually offer help in this regard to creatives?
Yeah, great. So I think maybe I don't know if I said safe, but let me just say that I was saying that grant is a very good, because we spoke about different. I said grant is always very good because no one is going to hold your shirt or hold your neck for any problem. But you also
said it's difficult, sort of.
Yeah, it's very difficult because capital is very competitive. Is right. I mean, definitely they can earmark capital to come to the creative economy, but then again, before they even say, okay, let capital go to, they have to make sure that money will I get my money back if I put it into somewhere else? You know what I mean? So capital is very competitive, or the demand for capital is very competitive, right? So, there are definitely grants that are available, with the DFIs, IFC, Propaco, all those DFIs typically have grants, to give away. And like I said, very competitive. In fact, they've even become more competitive. I was speaking with someone recently, and he was saying that what's happened now is the pool of grants, or the pool capital for grants, have reduced, and demand for those grants have increased. So you need to actually stand out. The requirements have kind of like really increased. So you need to really stand out. But then again, if you're able to get 100K grants, nobody is good. You upscale your business without any, you're not giving up anything, right? They're doing it. It's good for you. In terms of equity investments, there are opportunities that are available. I know of a company called Filmmaker Mat, that just raised some undisclosed amount from IFC. So IFC as well, invests in businesses, in as much as they give grants, they invest in businesses to take an equity stake, so on and so forth. There are a couple other VC or private equity funds. I don't think they have VC models in this area, but private equity funds that are available for that are ready to invest in those kind of companies. The thing, however, is really finding the if, they'll have their requirements. You need to make in so and so revenues and so on and so forth. So as a business, that's why I say as a business, we focus with businesses that are probably maybe 5 years in business, 5 years in operations, have a revenue over a certain level. I think we're doing within 50 to 100k USD, and so it's easier to really say help them. And then of course there are debt opportunities as well. Even locally as well, I know film producers, they're able to access debt capital from MBO capital to be able to shoot movies, so on and so forth. So definitely there are a number of opportunities around. If you need help with getting access to those opportunities, you can always reach out to me. That's something I'm able to probably even direct you for free, to be honest. Okay, go there. But then again, of course, the investor readiness part of it, which is putting your data room in order, your financials, your models, so on and so forth, your pitch deck, crafting your story, is where we specialize in. And so of course we're able to provide that service as well.
And this is for any kind of creative.
Also, I would say within the creative economy. Okay. So of course within the creative sector, the subsectors, you might find like film, music, fashion, art. Art is still very interesting, to be honest, because I was speaking to a friend of mine who's an art collector, and he was saying that I need to go and verify this, but this is what he told me, because he's a very big art collector. So he was saying, for example, if he's buying an art from a Nigerian artist, let's say Kennedy Grillo, for example, okay, he needs to, and he wants to sell it, so he needs to take it to Bonhams, which is in the UK, for example. They'll verify it and then return it back here to Nigeria to the new owner, which is frankly very expensive. So that one is
art is not for the poor. Anyway, so
we're not doing that yet, but I think we'll focus more like fashion, film,
music,
gaming. We're getting in there now. So yeah, we're working on it. We did Afrobeats report, we're working on a gaming report as well, which is coming in a bit. We've gone to understand, that industry. Like I said, nobody's really doing that hard work. We're doing it. So that's what we're doing. Yeah.
So you see, our listeners, you see why you have to follow us and subscribe, because man like Kamsy now, if you're in the gaming industry, if you're in the fashion industry, if you're in the music industry, if you're in the film industry, you need to look for this man.
Kamsy Osakwe.
Hold his waist and let him show you the way. So brother, in final, what advice would you give to budding creatives in that sector?
Great.
To explode to the next level.
Thank you very much. I think, like I said, I have deep respect for creative entrepreneurs. Very, very much deep respect for creative. It's difficult. I'm not going to deny that. So I'll say, I know this is going to sound, very normal, but I think you just keep pushing, right? That's one, because there are opportunities, right? We're just getting there, right? And we're going to get there. We're going to get there. I think we just we're all going to get there collectively. That's one. Two, your story is very important, right? You need to be able to understand you need to be able to sell the story, basically, for your business, right? You need to be able to talk, if you see, when I think very interesting story, tech guys have understood it very well, the tech industry. You see Child Deck, I think when they raised their $9 million, he said he was trying to buy food in the middle of the night, and then there was nobody going to deliver food. Beautiful story. And it tells, they're telling a very good story. So we need to be able to craft that story as well properly, in a way that, it communicates the value, investors can see the opportunity in it and take advantage of those opportunities. So yeah, I think those are the two things. And then last but not the least, right, keep your books in check as much as you can. It's difficult, but monitor, just make sure at least you're tracking it, right? As simple as it is, keep a cash flow, right? Know your money that is coming in, money that is going out. Just track it, so that the day that you need to build it to do something else, it's very important. Just like when you go to, say back in the day, when maybe still today they'll write it down.
Just have a book for
just have a
what we spent, what we
let's
made.
start. Let's be doing that.
Nice.
Let's be doing that.
Thank you very much, my brother. So on this show, I always give our guests nicknames.
Okay.
I'm just gonna call you KO.
Oh, that's nice, man. I like that one.
You've been knocking out the finances.
Come on, let's go.
KO.
Let's go.
Okay, so I'll give a rundown of what we've discussed. So you said something about industrial capital. I love that. That was
institutional
capital. Sorry, yeah. That's I like that. You said let them get to a point where it's locally created, internationally consumed. You said get your books in order 10 times. So that one is a highlight. To know your revenue drivers, how to tell a story.
Yeah.
And to keep pushing.
Just keep pushing.
Yeah. So everybody, that's a lovely breakdown of this amazing conversation.
Thank you very much. Tank.
Yes,
let's go.
Nice one.
KO. Beautiful Chidera.
Thank you. Before we say goodbye, we have a little something to say thank you.
Kind. Come on, guys.
For gracing us with your presence.
Thank you. Far too kind. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
We're gonna go to our quick fire question segment.
Let's have it.
I'm gonna ask you 3 questions back to back, and you're gonna give us your answers. Boom, boom, boom.
Let's go.
All right. What brand would you like to invest in?
Investing? Well, arrange investment for Iron Official. Like I said, I've seen him build that brand from 100 level in uni, shooting, creating a collection in our dormitory, right? To now collaborating with Meta AI, which is really huge. So working on it, we're almost there. We'll get it across the line for sure.
Nice.
So yeah.
Favorite Nigerian food?
Jollof rice. Nothing beats jollof rice. I'll be honest with you. I'll eat that morning, afternoon, night.
I think you are somebody who would like native Igbo soup.
I do, but
jollof rice
maybe because I'm a bachelor, it's easy to just go and warm rice and you know what I mean. So I love jollof rice, man. But yeah.
Okay. And finally, favorite podcast?
Favorite podcast is Masters in Business.
Who's this guy? Who are you really? Who are you?
Yeah,
actually no. That's solid. Yeah.
So I like Masters in Business because it helps me to think about finance. Really, it's a finance podcast.
Okay.
So I learn a lot about different structuring, how to look at businesses really. So that's why I like Masters in Business really.
And your second favorite podcast?
I think definitely Creative Money Podcast. Let's have it.
God save you. Let's have it. Let's have it. Nice one, my brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me. Such a pleasure. So delightful to speak with you. I learned a lot today. I look forward to I keep watching this podcast. I've seen a lot of people coming here. It's very beautiful, and I'm sure that together, working together collaboratively, we'll be able to help this whole industry to grow and get to where it's supposed to be.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
All right. This is the Creative Money Podcast, where we talk about how you can turn your creativity into currencies. And before we say our final goodbye for this episode, you can follow us on all our social media platforms at Get Creative Money on Instagram and Creative Money Africa on YouTube. Please don't forget to follow, subscribe, and like and share across your own platforms. Thank you for staying with us today. We hope you had a swell time like we did. Big T.
From KO to all our followers, keep pushing. Keep pushing. So until the next one, before we see you, keep pushing. The CMP team. Gang, let's go.